Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Rock Weekly Sports Talk. I'm your host, Cameron Collins, and with me are spectacular analysts Big Dave Miller and Ronaldo Cook-Martin. Let's get started. The NCAA tournament kicked off this past week, and there were some very surprising results as several double-digit teams, including 15-seeded Florida Gulf Coast, advanced to the Sweet 16. Ronaldo, what interested you most about the tourney's first round?
Well, unfortunately, Florida Gulf Coast, they ruined my bracket since I had Georgetown in my Final Four.
Enough pity on you. What do you think of it?
But with that said, Florida Gulf Coast, obviously the most impressive team in the tournament.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Not the most impressive.
First 15 to ever go to the Sweet 16. What are you talking about?
I mean,
That is an impressive feat, but I don't think they're the most impressive
give him
team.
give him his chance.
I have my 15
give him his
seconds
chance.
favorite.
15 seconds,
please.
5 minutes.
I have 15 seconds, it's still the same thing.
Please.
Look, as far as the most impressive team, it's Louisville.
Okay.
That's my point.
It's
Yes.
Louisville. Yeah, they're the most impressive team.
There you go.
The most surprising team, of course, is Florida Gulf Coast, along with LaSalle. Okay? I didn't picture Florida Gulf Coast. I didn't picture LaSalle. I didn't picture Oregon because I don't take the Pac-12. Look, I don't take the Pac-12 seriously enough to consider Oregon. Don't get me wrong. They got a bogus seeding in the tournament. They're way better than a 12 seed.
Oh, most definitely.
They probably should. I mean, they should have been high. They should have been seeded better than UCLA was.
Yeah, Oregon was the Pac-12 champion, and they were the 12 seed.
That just tells you how nobody cares about the Pac-12.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to know more about teams than just the seeds, because
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't care about the Pac-12. Personally, it doesn't matter to me. So far, like I said, as far as this goes right now, Louisville's obviously dominating. They're kicking everybody's butts. No surprise there. You have your other favorites, obviously, out there. You have the Hoosiers. No surprise there. They slid past Temple. Ohio State, Aaron Kraft knocking that three-pointer in the final seconds. I will say this, though. Gonzaga, man, what a joke you guys were as the 1 seed. Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Last time a number 1 seed lost like that, number 1 overall seed, Kansas.
Seriously, I mean, it was a joke. Let me tell you something about Gonzaga, okay? The reason why people don't look at you as being fearful is because you guys play out in the West Coast Conference. Nobody fears you, okay? Pitt. People actually had you guys losing to Pitt before the tournament started. That tells you something.
And I just want to say, who said Gonzaga was going to go to the Final Four?
This guy over
we
there.
don't talk about that.
No, we are going to talk about that because we told you how stupid you were from that.
Hey, my other 3 Final Four teams are still in it.
Thank God. You are 75%
It's
correct
okay.
They almost
far.
lost to
I didn't have them in the championship, so.
Put them in the Final Four. They almost lost to Southern.
Southern?
Southern University.
There you go.
Southern.
That's how I say
But
it. Southern.
for me, I was going to bring up the Gonzaga losing in the second round because I called that.
Did you call that?
Yeah, but I had Pitt beating them. Anyway, I also had Oregon in the Sweet 16, and Ole Miss almost got me another huge upset, but LaSalle had to go through and just destroy because they're like the most liked team besides Florida Gulf Coast to make that Cinderella run.
There's like one person that I like that likes LaSalle. I don't even consider that person
But
relevant.
what I really liked about this first round is that rankings aren't even like a part of the equation anymore. You might as well just throw the numbers away, and you got to analyze each team now. Eventually, that 16 is going to be to 1. I was hoping it would be this year.
Look.
I made an upset bracket just in case Gonzaga would lose first round, so I could have predicted that correctly. But the rankings mean nothing anymore. If you just want to go by rankings, then you're just going to be a ranking slave. You're never going to do good in anything when you predict anything.
No 16 is going to be to 1. Okay.
Are you kidding me?
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Because like we said, Oregon should have been higher than a 12 seed. So at some point, somebody's going to get ranked a 16 seed
the committee,
who is much higher than
the reason why Oregon was ranked a 12 seed was because the committee could care less about the Pac-12. They don't consider that a relevant conference.
But think about it. Think about Florida Gulf Coast. They were one of the last 4 in. So they could have been a 16 instead of a 15. So if that happens, it's going to happen.
Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen next year? Is it going to happen in 2 years?
I'm not
5
saying
years?
it's going to happen in the next 5 years, 10
Within the
years, but
next
it's
10
going
years.
to happen.
Within the next 10 years.
We'll see.
I hope
you booking
so.
that?
Yep.
I hope it happens in the next 10 years.
You booking
Book
okay.
it.
Let's have all 4 number 1s go out.
That's not going to happen.
First time a 16 beats a 1 4.
That's not going to happen.
All right, well, moving on. 16 teams now remain as the NCAA tournament heads into its second weekend of games beginning this Thursday. Dave, which of these remaining teams do you expect to advance to the Final Four?
I still got all my Final Four picks. Overall, number 1 seed Louisville. Like you said, the most impressive team so far. They're getting to every loose ball. They're getting every rebound. They're scoring on every opportunity that they have. They're just, right now, unstoppable at this point. You go to the West bracket, as mangled as that bracket is for everyone there. Ohio State, I thought, was the clear-cut winner right when I saw that. They're a complete solid team, and Aaron Craft, probably one of the best defensive players in the league. And whenever he went up against Momo Jones and Iona State, with Aaron Craft defending him, that was like his goal. If he could defend him, he'll be good against everybody. On the other side of the bracket, Michigan coming in for the Final Four. Michigan, kind of a surprise pick, was everyone picking Florida and some people picking Kansas over it as well. I just thought Michigan overall was going to pull some thunder out of there. They were going to find a way to beat Florida. They were going to find a way to beat Kansas if those teams do come up. And then finally, I have in the bottom right, Miami. And Miami, the U's coming back, and they're winning it all. After that Duke win, they just kept climbing up to the number 3, number 2 rank, and eventually they started like being fearsome down there. Winning the ACC conference almost easily against North Carolina by the end of the game. Hey, by the end of the game, it got out of North Carolina's hands.
Okay, first of all, it was still single digits like the last 10 seconds. So what are you talking about?
Miami had it. And another thing I think Miami is really keen on is that they're all aged, they're all experienced. Their average age is 23 on this team. Next year, I don't see this team going anywhere. So this is their chance to shine and be the national champion.
Okay, well, that's false, number one.
What? No, this is their time to do it. You're just saying it's false because you don't think it's going to happen.
I know it's not going to happen. I know it's
Says the guy who picked Georgetown to go to the Final
and I
Four.
admit that was stupidity on my part.
I think Ohio State has the easiest route.
Oh yeah,
They're probably the only team you can pretty much say is a lock right now. Because,
But once they get to
like
Louisville,
we said, with that Western region,
Wait, what do you mean a lock? They almost lost to Iowa State yesterday.
they didn't almost lose. They were either going into overtime or winning it.
Which means they could have lost in overtime.
They weren't going to lose in overtime.
You sure about
But that's
that?
what I'm saying
It's
is
just like
they
how you
have. What I'm
said
saying is
Miami's
they
not
have
gonna
the
win the
easiest
championship.
teams to go through. Like Miami, there's still Miami, Syracuse, Indiana, all still
And
left in that
Marquette.
region, and Marquette. Exactly.
Okay.
That's the
They're all
strongest
still the
region.
top seeds left in that region. Up in the top, you've got Duke and Louisville. They still have to go through Duke.
God, don't talk about
Michigan
Duke.
State's still in there. The other region. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying the other regions still have better teams left in it. The West region, Ohio State has to go through 12 seeds, 13 seeds. Like they have to go through LaSalle. Like that's,
LaSalle's legit.
they're good, but I'm just saying, are they as good as Duke? Are
It's
they as
LaSalle.
good as Syracuse?
who do you have in the Final Four
Okay,
besides Georgetown?
Well, we can eliminate Georgetown, obviously. And I still have Indiana, Louisville, and Ohio State, my Final Four. So my fourth team now, since Georgetown's out, I would have to say is probably Kansas. The reason why Kansas, because of how well they play defensively. Now, as you all know, Kansas has the best field goal percentage defense in the country, 36%. Jeff Withey, of course, is a beast inside. Tortured my Tar Heels yesterday. Okay? Tortured my boys, man. That was
No.
rough to watch. That was rough.
I
in
just
the
thought
second
Kansas
half.
was overranked at number 1.
Well, look, it's easy to say that based on how they played against Western Kentucky. Okay, because they didn't look like a
Even
one
before that.
But in that region, who should have been ranked number one? Florida?
Well,
No.
I mean,
It's not Georgetown.
no, not Georgetown, obviously, but I thought Miami got the shaft and got the number
Yeah.
2.
seed. No, look.
But they're
listen.
in the region below that, so
Yeah.
The benefit is Kansas is Kansas, so Kansas' name is automatically going to get them a 1 seed. That's just how it is in college basketball.
And does that help them win, though?
It could, because with Georgetown being out,
The name doesn't help anymore. It's done.
no, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
That worked for Kentucky and RMU.
I mean,
but
did you think about it? Before the Big East tournament, did anyone look at Louisville as being the number 1 overall seed?
no.
No. Okay. Did anybody look at? We thought it might be Duke, might be Miami, might be Indiana, but Louisville got hot at the right time and carried that momentum from the Big East tournament into the NCAA so far, and they're so far the most impressive 1 seed. Indiana just got past Temple. Kansas had to come back from a sluggish start against Carolina to rally to win that game. We know what happened to Gonzaga. So we look at these 1 seeds and it's like, is there any 1 seed that has a real clear-cut advantage? No. I look at the rest of these top teams right now. Obviously, I agree. I think Ohio State has a more clear path to the Final Four. Miami Indiana has to get through Miami and Syracuse potentially into the Final Four. Kansas, they possibly Florida maybe, most likely.
Maybe Florida Gulf Coast.
Maybe
Florida Gulf Coast.
Honestly,
we don't know.
it could be.
Well, Florida's problem is they can't win close games. I mean, they lost to Kentucky. That's embarrassing.
Speaking of Kentucky, just do have to point this out. Kentucky was the first defending national champion to lose in the first round of the NIT in 26 years.
You lost to Robert Morris, Kentucky.
In 26 years, defending national championship.
What does that tell you?
Losing in the first round of the NIT. The not-in tournament.
Go you.
Robert Morris.
Just remember the U. It's their year.
No, it's not.
The U.
All right, well,
No, it's not.
we'll have to watch this weekend to find out, and then we'll have updates on the next show. Moving on, with his victory at Bay Hill today, Tiger Woods has regained his ranking as the world's #1 golfer and is 5 PGA Tour wins away from tying Sam Snead's record. Ronaldo, do you believe Tiger can win a major this year?
Well, now that he's regained his throne as the #1 golfer, I say yes. And I'm going to say the Masters.
He's gutsy. Look at him.
I'm going to say the Masters.
Look at
I
him.
am going to say
When you think about it,
the
though,
Masters.
he's hot right now, and that's the next. The major's coming right up. So I mean, if there's one that he's going to do it, that's the one I would
Tiger
think.
Woods will win the Masters. Why? Because it's Tiger's time to shine as being the world's #1 golfer. He hasn't won a major in, 5 years? That's too long, Tiger. Got to up your game now. This is your opportunity now. You're back at the top. Now you got to stay up there. The Masters will do that for you. Now, how many strokes he'll win by, I don't know, because I could care less about golf. I could care less. I don't care what he does, honestly. He can win by 5 strokes. He can win by 2. I don't care, honestly. I probably only watch like 5 minutes of the Masters anyway. You know, if Tiger's winning it in the final round, I'll probably tune into it and be like, oh, yeah, Tiger Woods won the
Yeah, I
Masters.
only ever
Yeah.
watched the final round.
I could care less. I don't care. And if he's in 30th place after day 1, so be it. You know, I think this is Tiger's time, but you know, he's got to win one this year. I mean, this has to be the year he's back at his number. Now, if it's not the Masters, I still think it'll be one of them. Maybe the British Open or something. I don't know. But he will win a major this year.
I'm calling it now, U.S. Open. I understand what you're saying. He's hot. He's going into the tournament. It's coming up soon. I just don't think he has it in the Masters yet. There's something about just going to Augusta and then all of a sudden, it doesn't matter how high ranked you are or how well you've been playing. If you don't go in there ready to go right away, you're done. So I can see him maybe competing. I don't see him winning it though. If he does win a major this year, I think of it as the U.S. Opens over the summertime. He has more time to get ready for another major instead of getting hot now and then all of a sudden being put into a major. He'll have some time to focus into that next major to get into it. So, but I didn't even think we'd see Tiger Woods at #1 for a while until he won a major.
What are you talking about, dude? Lindsey Vaughn's been his motivation.
And I think honestly that has helped.
That has helped significantly.
If they held a major at Bay Hill, I think it'd be a guarantee. He
Yeah.
won 8 times at Bay Hill.
And that's his second course that he won 8 times. Torrey Pines, he's also won 8 times as well.
So once he plays
they need to start holding majors there,
He'd be
and then he'd have the
undefeated.
record in 2
Oh,
years.
no doubt.
You know what I mean?
He only needs 4 more to tie Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah,
Will he get 4 more? I don't know.
he will.
I still think so.
He's still only 37
Once he gets
years
that
old.
one, once he
That's
gets that
not
first
old
one,
for golf
he got
standards.
It's not old for golf standards, but the problem with Tiger is, well, health has been a problem with him the last few years.
Yeah.
That's been an issue. And, I mean, right now for Tiger, I mean, this is the best we've seen him play in, what,
Probably
2,
at
3
least
years?
a few years.
So, I mean, right now, it's just time to shine. And if you're going to do it, Augusta's right there for you.
But that's even when you look at it too, like where we said, like with Sam Snead's record, he's 5 wins back, but he got his 77th win at age 37. Sam Snead got his 77th win at age 44. So he's already 7 years ahead.
If he can't get 5 more wins in 7 years, my God.
Exactly. So I mean, like I said, 37 isn't old for golf standards, so he's gonna get it.
I think he's going to break
It's
both
just all
records.
about when.
Snead's and Nicklaus's.
I think by the time he's 40, he's breaking both of them.
No, he won't. No, he won't.
Pretty gutsy. 5 out of 20 majors.
I know.
We'll see. We'll see.
5
We'll
years
see.
ago, I would have said
Don't
yes.
book that. Please don't book that.
Don't book that. That's
Well,
not a
Please
he only has to
don't.
win 4 more majors to tie the record.
Yeah.
He's not booking
5 to
that.
break it.
He's gonna get there.
He's not booking it. No, you can't book that.
I'm not
No.
booking it,
You
but
can't book it because
I think he'll do it by then.
no, he's gonna finish like at 17.
Eh.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
booking that.
I guess we'll find out in the next few years here. All right. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Unbelievable.
Welcome back to Rock Weekly Sports Talk. We've got 3 more topics to dive into, so let's get underway. With their overtime victory over the rival Philadelphia Flyers last night, the Pittsburgh Penguins have now won 12 games in a row, which is the longest winning streak this season. Dave, do you think the Penguins are the best team in the NHL right now?
Absolutely. The Blackhawks had their run, then Patrick Sharp got hurt, and then they went down for a little bit, but they're still maintaining a great record, 24-3-3 overall. But the Pens, 25-8, no overtime losses. Every time they go into overtime or a shootout, they're winning. It's right now, no doubt about it, until that game happens. Right, at 1 point behind the Blackhawks, we didn't think any team would catch up to the Blackhawks at the pace that they were going. Now, with 24 straight points in a row, they're just catching up right away. This team has a chance now, and I believe they will win the President's Cup, have the best record in the NHL, and break that curse. Out of any team in here, they are looking the strongest. You look at the trade that they just made, Morrow for Amaro. They traded Joe Morrow, their young player that they just drafted, I believe a 5th-round pick for Brendan Morrow and a 3rd-round pick. And so Morrow, being a strong defenseman in his mid-30s, not having a championship yet, he's going to have that drive. He wants to go in there and win a cup right away, and that's what this Pens team is focusing on. They're building for right now, this year. I don't see any team in the Eastern Conference challenging them that much unless Washington can sneak their way into the playoffs and somehow match up with the Pens, because we've had a little trouble with them this year. And if you look at the other conference, if you have, like we've been saying the entire year, Pens and Blackhawks, because they've been showing us that they're the best. I think the Pens could overtake the Blackhawks if they go head-to-head.
I mean, the 12-game winning streak's okay, I guess you
Shut
could
up.
say. I mean, it's okay.
In basketball terms, it's like a 26-game
the
winning
longest
streak.
winning streak in the NHL
In basketball
this
terms,
season.
it's like a 26-game winning streak.
It's okay. I mean, yeah, 12 in a row, it's okay. It's okay, believe me. It's hard to do in any sport. As far as them being the best team in hockey, I guess you'd have to say yes, because I think the Blackhawks are not what they were beginning of the season with the point streak. However,
don't they have some injuries?
they had some injuries.
Patrick Sharp got that shoulder injury.
I also do like the Ducks in the West. I think Anaheim is playing very well. I could see the Anaheim Penguins Stanley Cup final. I will say this, the President's Cup, nobody cares about that at all because number 1 seeds in hockey mean nothing. That's a fact.
Number 1 seeds matter in anything?
Yeah. NBA
Basketball,
does.
that's about it.
Yeah.
Football, yeah.
Yeah, the Broncos.
Don't want the number 1 seed. Look, I mean, yeah, but when you're number 1 seed in hockey, because home ice means absolutely nothing in hockey. I mean, who we kidding? But with that said, though, I don't think they'll finish with the best record in hockey. I don't, even with the lockout season.
But it doesn't necessarily mean they're not the best team.
No, right now they're the best team right now. I mean, there's no question about that. And to think about this, Malkin's been out while they've been
Letang's
doing
been
this.
out, too.
So that's what's
games.
That's what's made the streak even more impressive is the fact they've had key guys out. Sidney Crosby's been playing well, along with everyone else. And I think that this team is continuing. I think once Malkin and Letang come back, this team will build. And obviously the benefit is because it's a lockout season, with the playoffs being right around the corner, this team could take right off. Can I see this team making a Stanley Cup run? I could. I think this team has been built. We said, I felt all year long, from the beginning of the season, I felt this was a Pens team that was built to win a championship this year. I think they can do that. And based on what we're seeing right now, I think that will only increase. Other teams, like I said, I don't think there's anybody else in the Eastern Conference right now that I think strikes any big fear. In the West, like I said, the West, you have the Blackhawks, you got the Ducks in the West. But I don't think there's any other team right now that strikes any fear towards the Pens from keeping them from making a potential championship run this year.
I agree.
I mean, Pens are just unstoppable. They might lose soon with the way they've been playing comeback hockey.
Well, no, they're going to lose soon. That's obvious.
If they keep playing from behind, eventually they're not going to be able to catch up.
And when it comes to a 7-game series, generally the better team always wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
They
like
should.
when it's a 1 game, that's the one upside to sports like that when you have a series compared to one game. Because 1 game, it's whoever plays better on that day, not necessarily who's the better team.
Yep.
But generally in a series, the better team usually comes out on top.
Yeah.
Because in order to win the majority of the games in a series, you can't just play better one day.
Exactly.
I mean, if you can sustain that play for 4 games, you're probably the better team. So,
Maybe.
No, it's true.
yeah. So, we'll have to see how they match up come playoff time. But so, moving on, there have been some interesting moves in NFL free agency at this point. The Baltimore Ravens landed Elvis Dumervil, and the Houston Texans got Ed Reed. Ronaldo, which teams have impressed in free agency so far?
Well, I mean, you obviously Denver picking up Wes Welker, and I'd have to say Robert Kraft's reasoning for losing Wes Welker was garbage. Okay, I'm not buying that. Like I said, we have the money to bring back Wes Welker and everything. We're devastated he left and went to Denver. We had the money to bring. We had more money. Okay, first of all, you didn't make any real big effort to bring back Wes Welker. Okay. So don't give me that. You went out there and got Danny Amendola, okay? So you moved on pretty well. So just move on. Yeah, Tom Brady, he's upset about it. Go cry me a river, Tommy. Whatever. You got your money. You're going to the Hall of Fame.
He took a pay cut so they could keep Welker, and
you
then
still have
he's out
your
the
money
door.
from your recent contract. You still got a boatload of money
Yeah.
still left over. You're Tom
but
Brady.
it's the fact of, hey, I'm willing to take a pay cut so we can keep this guy, and
There
then
was
you
no
don't go out
doubt
and
in
get
my
him.
mind because New England didn't make any real effort before or after this season to say that we want to sign up Wes Welker. They went out there and gave Gronkowski an extension. They gave Hernandez more money. So you sit there and tell me that they were making any real attempt to bring back Wes Welker.
But that's the point
Mark
is they
Sa-
should have.
They
You know Mark
should have, but they
Sanchez makes
didn't.
more money than Tom Brady now.
That's wrong.
And
a
that's
shame.
embarrassing.
That's wrong.
Well, and look with the Jets now. They're stuck with
Yeah,
Sanchez now. So
exactly.
that's their own stupid fault. But, obviously Welker going to Denver is a big deal. Ed Reed, 62 years old now?
Yeah.
Roughly?
63. He
So,
just turned
I mean, yeah,
63.
he's still got a little bit left in. He's got about 62 degrees. I mean, he's about 62 years old. So, I mean, he's got a little bit left in the tank. Not a lot. But, it helps out that secondary, which has had their issues. But as far as free agency, I mean, I think, and then, of course, with Baltimore getting Dumervil, that's a big deal, obviously, with all the guys. Because I pretty much see, like, Baltimore losing at least one guy every day, it seems like.
I think the 49ers made out the best so far in free agency.
Yeah, and
Getting Anquan Bolden. And
Yep.
then now they picked up the Browns MVP, Phil Dawson.
You need to go get Revis, San Francisco. Get
But
Revis.
think about it. Last year, what was probably their biggest weakness?
Their secondary.
Their kicker.
No,
Their
no.
kicker. No, they didn't have. Neither of their kickers could make field goals.
But look what
So
happened.
if it came down to a field goal,
Phil
they
Daw-
were
wait,
they
hold
were
on.
frightened.
no,
Phil
wait.
Dawson is like 92 years old.
And he
was a
an
Pro
awesome
Bowler
kicker.
last year.
And he's still an awesome
Yeah,
kicker. but
because Cleveland can't get in the red zone, so he had all those opportunities.
Yeah, and he was like 35 for 37. on
and how
field
about
goals.
this? The year before, this past year, on San Francisco, David Akers had the best year of his career. Going into May, that offseason, he had double hernia surgery. That had to have affected him in some way.
Look,
and you
let me tell you
showed.
something.
that-
David Akers, he ain't making no excuses, okay? He was missing like 30 yarders.
I want you to have double hernia surgery and kick 50-yard field goals.
He
You
was
saw
missing-
in the first game.
He was missing 30 yarders.
In the first game of the year, he made a 63-yard field goal against the Packers going into halftime.
Right, and how was he tailing off after that then? If he's making 63 yarders?
And did his team go to the Super Bowl? Did he do enough to contribute to his team to make it to the Super Bowl? I think so. Kicking is a part of the game, and they picked up on that. Is that going to get them from losing in the Super Bowl to winning in a Super Bowl, though?
It could.
It
though.
could,
That's what
but
I'm
is
saying.
it?
Between both their kickers last year, they really struggled.
Yes.
So
Did it come down-
That changes your play mentality. When you get down in that close range, if you're confident in your kicker making the field goal, if you have a kicker that you're like, we should probably go for it, and then you fail, it could be a big deal.
I think the team that did maybe the most intriguing moves to maybe give themselves a little more flash in the NFL, the Miami Dolphins. Picking up Mike Wallace, he might be a bust, he might not be. We'll see how that goes. And you got Darnell Ellerby, one of the linebacker crew from the Ravens.
Okay, look, the only thing with Miami is it's great for Mike Wallace to go to Miami. That's great.
Wallace just wanted paid.
The problem is you're going to a franchise that's gone to the playoffs one time in the last 12 years. They have no real They've had like 39 different quarterbacks in the last 12 years.
And Ryan Tannehill's probably going to be there for at least another 2 years.
2 years maximum,
And
probably.
that's going to be a sign of improvement for Miami. And he's going to have now Mike Wallace as a deep threat, and he's going to have Brian Hartline and a slot receiver.
Look,
he's going to have receivers to throw to now. He's going to do, I think, better than what he did last year.
Yeah,
They
Mike
still
Wallace
need a
is
defense, though.
Oh, yeah. And you got to start with the linebacking crew, Darnell Ellerby. Being a Steelers fan, you got to start with the linebacking crew to have a good defense. So picking up Ellerby was big for them as well.
the Dolphins, man. They don't do anything. They don't scare anybody.
Even the name doesn't scare
When I
anybody.
look at-
Did you see their cool?
You see their new logo?
Hardcore logo
Even
they
now-
got
even
going
now
on
their
there?
logo doesn't scare anybody.
It's just like the Jaguars' new logo.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Jaguars looks like garbage.
The way I look at Wallace going to the Dolphins, basically he decided money was more important than a championship.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. No
Because-
doubt.
You sign with the Dolphins like that, you're not concerned with winning.
Look, I don't have a
championship.
problem with that because Pittsburgh couldn't afford to keep. They had enough from financial issues.
But that's what I'm saying. If he was more worried about winning a championship, he could have went somewhere else for less money to a contender. But he wanted paid, so he went to
and
Miami.
before we move on, I just want to say, was he worth $1.5 million last year?
Look, in the world of the NFL,
Was he worth $1.5 million
not
last year?
last year? No.
All
With the
right.
drops he had.
Then he can go leave him.
Is he worth $10 million next year?
13.
Hey, listen. In the NFL, it's all about the Benjamins. Okay. That's
I
just how
can't
it
wait
is.
till he's not in the Hall of Fame because he doesn't have a ring.
Hey, Dan Reed doesn't have a ring. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Hey, he's got
He
a
was the
point.
best quarterback ever
Yeah, he got a ring.
at the time. At the time,
So I mean, hey,
Wait.
Bert,
like
I'm
in
just
his
saying.
time.
sense.
In
I'm
his
just-
time.
And I mean, Elway was still around there.
All right. Moving on. Now on to our final topic of the night. The Miami Heat are currently sporting a 26-game winning streak, which is the second longest in NBA history. The Heat are 8 wins shy of breaking the Lakers' 33-game winning streak. Dave, do you think the Heat will break the record?
Nope. They're going to get to 29. They're going to go into San Antonio
Oh.
on their last game of their 4-game road trip. Remember, these next 4 games are all on the road. Their last one in San Antonio on the last day in March. They're not going to be undefeated in February because they lost the first game in February. They're not going to be undefeated in March because that's going to be the last game in March. This game they're going to lose. Say what you want about San Antonio, how boring they are, how they don't do anything.
True that.
They are.
They win. They win.
You know who wins? The Miami Heat.
Yeah, these are the
26 in a row,
these
to
are
be
the
exact.
best teams in the franchise, and the Thunder, and like the NBA. These are the best franchises that know just how to win. San Antonio just does it fundamentally. Miami does it just flashy and relaxed. And
But wait, hang on. How have the Spurs done in the playoffs the past 10 years?
we're talking about the regular
How have they
season.
done in the playoffs the past 10 years?
Not good.
So they
But
might-
we are talking
you can
about the
have- you
regular
can have the
season
best-
right now.
You can have the best record in the regular season every year, but if you don't win a championship, who cares?
But
It's all about the
we're talking about a
championship.
winning streak being ended right now in the regular season,
not
which
gonna
I
end
think
it,
it'll
though.
be ended by them.
You're crazy.
Okay.
The Miami Heat are too good.
Oh, no, they are. But San Antonio knows how to get stuff done in the regular season. How many double-digit winning streaks have they had this year? At least 2. They had that 11-game winning streak. No one even knew about it. No one even knew about it until
Because
they
no one
lost.
cares about the Spurs.
Exactly.
It's boring.
They're just going to go through, and they're just going to beat this team by at least 10.
No, pff, you're crazy.
What do you have to say?
Oh my word.
Well, I agree. The Heat won't break the record.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's right. However, I'm going to go one step further. I got them losing to the Bulls on Wednesday.
Ooh, oh.
That's right. I got them losing to
Do
the
you
Bulls.
realize the Kings
I-
beat the Bulls by 41 points?
And the Heat had to go double overtime to beat the Kings, which is nothing to brag about either. Okay? Yes, I can lose to the Bulls. You know why? Because Tom Thibodeau will have that Bulls defense ready to go Wednesday. Okay? You can say what you want. It's been a rough year for the Bulls for obvious reasons. But when it comes to Chicago Bulls, defense is the number one priority. Defense wins championships. Okay? Now, Miami plays great defense too. As impressive as the streak is for Miami, this streak should have ended like a few days ago, honestly. Okay? When you fall 27 points behind to Cleveland, when Kyrie Irving doesn't play, Dion Waiters doesn't play, that's not good. That's nothing to brag about.
But that's the point. The Heat don't even have to show up in the first half, and they still win.
You
and they still win.
Ultimately, it's going to catch up to you.
It really doesn't matter how you win in a winning streak.
When
it's
they,
how
when
you
they
fit-
come
no,
up
listen,
on
listen.
the Spurs and the Bulls, then they'll actually kick it into gear a little bit earlier.
And
when they play teams like the Bobcats and the Cavs, they go, oh, well, we can slack off for the first half, and then we'll start playing for real.
Not with the Bulls.
We don't want to embarrass them too
Not with the Bulls.
bad.
He said that, not with the Bulls.
Not with the Bulls, and that's why I don't think it'll happen. That's why I think Wednesday, the streak ends Wednesday.
No, they'll take them seriously.
No, they will take them seriously, but I still like the Bulls, though.
They're crazy.
Okay? I still like the Bulls.
They're breaking it.
No, they're
Now,
not.
you said both of us are crazy. Which one's crazier?
Dude, you picked Gonzaga to go to your Final Four.
I would
That's how
see
you're
the
crazy.
Spurs ending it before I see the Bulls ending it.
We obviously
What
know
you got against
he
the
knows more
Bulls,
about
man?
the NBA than
They
college.
don't have Derrick Rose,
Okay, they haven't had Derrick Rose all season. That's not an excuse at this point.
but they're not going to beat the Heat
Yeah,
without
they're
him.
not.
They've beaten Heat once already this season.
Once,
okay?
when the last time that they
Before
played, the Bulls
this
lost
streak.
by 30 points.
They had a rough shooting night. I admit that. Yes, it was not pretty. It was a bad shooting night for the Bulls. Okay.
It's going to be just
Every
as bad
night's a
as
bad
last time.
shooting night for the Bulls.
Yes, their offense is not particularly great right now.
And yet you expect them to beat the Heat.
I think they can beat the Heat in the Windy City on Wednesday night. Okay. Look, they're not breaking this winning streak. Okay. This is one of these sacred win streaks that are going to last
Sacred
forever.
winning streaks.
They're going to last forever.
That occurred. I like what LeBron said. When this winning streak happened, this was back when the ABA still existed. So the Lakers didn't even have to play half the teams that the Heat are having to play.
Oh,
to
and
get
that's
this
what, don't get me
streak.
wrong. And yes, Miami's streak is more impressive than the Lakers because, number one, you're playing 13 more teams now than you did back then. You're playing back-to-back days, okay? And that's all impressive, yes, okay? But at the same time, this streak will end. And I think the Bulls are capable. Yeah, San Antonio, if it's not the Bulls, then I think San Antonio, even though San Antonio is one of the most boring franchises I've ever watched in my entire life, okay, in the last 15 years.
They're almost as bad as the
When I want to, every time I watch the Spurs, I want to fall asleep. Okay, it's disturbing. Okay, it's like this slow tempo, and it's just like, like I just want to. It's disgusting to watch. Like when they played the Cavs in the finals when LeBron was there, I almost wanted to turn the TV off because I was going to fall asleep.
I would have.
They win.
Yes, they
just
win. No, but
And that's fine with
they've
me.
won a championship in 6 years,
Exactly.
so it's been a little bit. They were up. Remember, they could have won the finals last year. They were up 2-0, and OKC didn't finish it. No, they're going to go back this year. They're going to go to the finals this year.
No.
Heat streak is going to end.
No, it's going to end. They're not
At
breaking
San
the record.
Antonio.
They're not breaking the
The
record.
Heat are going to break the record.
They're not going to break the record. Fine, book it all you
Book
want. You can book it all you
Book
want.
it.
You can book first-class tickets to Hawaii or whatever. We don't care.
We got someone to make fun of next week.
That's right. We already made fun of you about Gonzaga this week, so we got to make fun of you next week about Miami.
We got something again.
So you had nothing.
No.
You had nothing.
You saw right here, SRU.
Two against one, man. You got no chance.
Yeah, you saw it right here that when the Heat break the streak, I got two people to make fun of.
But we'll make fun of you even off the show anyway, so it's not going to make
That's
a
true.
difference.
That's true.
All right, well, a lot of intriguing conversation today on the show about a multitude of interesting topics. For Dave Miller and Ronaldo Cook Martin, I'm Cameron Collins, and we'll see you next time.
Let's go
Are
home.
you Al from Home Improvement?
Man, maybe I can be. Hey, I like home improvement, so you shut up.
I do.